Good morning. This is Ben Noynay. I'm going to give you a very important lesson on how to really prepare yourself so you can learn how to play the piano properly. What I'm going to give you as a lesson is probably three of the most important foundations in your preparation to learn how to play the piano properly. Okay, so let's get started straight away. As you can see here, this is my keyboard. I'm going to use this to demonstrate what I'm going to explain to you today. In my other videos, all these different areas that I'm going to talk to you about today are explained very comprehensively and in full details. So let's get started. I'm not going to give it to you like, oh, you can learn how to play the piano in 15 minutes. No, that's not going to happen. Okay. I know there's a lot of YouTube videos that would say that. How to play the piano very quickly, how to play the piano in less than, etc., etc. Now, I'm going to give you both bad news and good news. The bad news is there is no shortcut in playing the piano if you really want to play the piano properly. Now, the good news is once you learn how to master these areas that I'm going to share with you today, then playing the piano will be a cruise. It'll actually be a very, very simple task to do once you understand and mastered all these different areas that I'm going to give you. Now, I'm going to give you probably about 6 different areas, but we can categorize them into 3. Each area has a subcomponent. These are the 3 main areas that I'm talking about. The first one is to learn how to read the notes on the music staff. To learn how to read music is like learning how to read a foreign language, whatever language it is. It may be Italian, maybe Spanish, maybe French, maybe English. The difference is in learning these languages, we're using words, but in music, we're using symbols and signs. Under the first area, which is learning how to read notes, you need to learn music theory. Sometimes it is a bit boring to learn, but it's very important. It's actually the foundation. Learning how to recognize the staff, for example. Learning how to read the notes in the staff. Now, there are 2 kinds of staff. I will not go into so much detail in giving you this subcomponent of the first area because they are also in other videos, but I'm just going to give a summary of it. So in piano music, it's called a grand staff. There are 2 staffs we're talking about here. One is the treble staff and the other is a bass staff. And both have 5 lines and 4 spaces. And the notes are written on the lines and in the spaces. And the music theory, you will learn how to read all the notes that are there in 2 staffs. So that is the very first area that you need to take into very serious consideration to prepare yourself to play the piano. Now, I'm not teaching you first the actual piano playing. This is just practically to prepare you. The second area is to identify those notes or recognize them from the staff. The names of the notes, the kinds of notes, etc. And then transfer them into your piano keyboard. In other words, find the specific location of a particular note on the staff into your piano keyboard, because every note that is written on the grand staff has a specific location on your piano keyboard. That is the second area. That takes a lot of practice. Corollary to that is to determine whether you are using a 66 key keyboard or the actual digital piano 88 keys, the actual piano keyboard size, the same as the actual acoustic piano. The reason for that is because there are different octaves, we call them. Okay, so be sure that you are playing on the right octave. And what determines that is the middle C. So in this piano keyboard, this is the middle C. And there are some keyboards that are 61 keys. So 66 keys and then 88 keys. Okay, so it depends on which brand you're using as a keyboard, or in the actual piano, digital piano, or the acoustic piano. It's always 88 keys, the full size. Now, number 3 is the fingers that you're going to use. Because if you don't use the right fingers in playing the piano, you will not be able to move your hand and your fingers accordingly. Okay, it's very difficult to play the notes on the staff into your piano keyboard if you are not using the right fingers. So fingering is a very important, that's the term that we use for piano players, the right fingering. I call it the right finger assignment. Why do I call it an assignment? Because it changes. There's so many different finger assignments depending on what piece you are playing and which part of the keyboard you are actually playing, because you only have 10 fingers and there are 88 keys of the piano. So you need to understand the enormity of the job between the two hands. Be sure to learn how to synchronize both the left and the right hand, and also to compartmentalize their jobs. Because when you are actually playing the piano, the left hand does one job and the right hand does another job. In another video, I'm actually talking about the different systems that you can use in learning how to play the piano. The two-part system, in which case the left hand plays the chord, for example, like this. Okay, so it's a chord C. And the right hand plays the melody of the music piece or the song that you're going to play. So it's just one note at a time for the right hand, but the chord is played by the left hand. So that's a G chord. Okay, and then a note here, for example, is this. So a chord is played on the left hand and the melody of the song is played by the right hand. That's what we call the two-part system. There is the three-part system, wherein the end parts of your two hands will be playing differently. For example, you are playing the chord G, but the fifth finger on the left hand will be playing the G, and then the second finger will be playing a D, and then the first finger will be playing a G on the second octave, and the first finger on the right hand will be playing the B note, and the second finger, the index finger, will be playing D, and the fifth finger will be playing another G right there. And if you play them together, and if you look at the position of the two hands, the chord is actually found in the middle. So this is the chord G in its root position. So that's a G, a B, and a D. Okay, and then the bass line is played by the fifth finger. We call it the primary bass. And the secondary bass is played by the second finger, which is a D. And then probably a melody is found here or there. Okay, so you can do it like. So it's now a different sound. Okay, that was the wrong melody. There you go. And then you go. So now we call it the three-part system because both the chord, the bass, and the melody of the song are being played by just your two hands. Now, this is like when you're playing a piano solo. Piano solo means there is no one singing, you just play the melody of the song with the piano, with the notes in the piano. Now, the third system is called the accompaniment system. The accompaniment system is very common when you're using the piano as an accompaniment for someone who is going to sing the song that you are accompanying with. So, if a singer sings, "I found a love for me, darling, just dive right in." See, that's practically just playing the bass and the chord, bass on the left, chord on the right, and then the vocal part of it. If you're going to look at the music sheet of what I've just done, there is an additional staff that's going to be added, or in this case, it actually comes first. So now there are 3 staffs that you're going to look at. The first staff will be the staff that has the vocal notes on it. And this is the melody of the song. And then the second and the third staffs are actually the grand staff, okay, the piano piece, the piano notes. Okay, so that's the corollary to the third area, you know, with the right fingers and all that. So be sure that you memorize your fingering. The assignment of numbers of your fingers is very easy to memorize. The thumb is 1, the index finger is 2, the middle finger is 3, the ring finger is 4, and the pinky, the little finger, is 5. But then there is another corollary to the third area, which is hand position. Hand position is very, very important to master on the piano. Now, you will be able to find out what is the best hand position for that particular piece when you learn how to read the notes on the piano, because then you will be able to determine which one is the highest note on the right hand, which one is the lowest note, and also the same thing on the left hand. Now, the basic rule is very, very simple. When you find the highest note, use the 5th finger on your right hand to play that, and then all the other fingers will just practically go according to how they are positioned, you know, like this. Now, there are some skips between the first finger and the second finger because of the physical distance already of the thumb and the index finger. The same thing with the left hand. But the most important thing is to realize that these two are used to play opposites. Okay, opposites. So while on the right hand, the 5th finger is playing the highest note, on the left hand, it is the first finger that's playing the highest note on the bass staff. Okay? So this is on the treble staff. And the 5th finger on the left hand is playing the lowest note of the bass staff, and on the right hand, it's going to be the first finger. Okay? So in this case, like this, okay? So this is the 5th, that's the highest one, that's the lowest. And then when you start learning how to play the scales, you know, and then you start fingering exercises or finger exercises, then you will understand how your fingers will be able to move from one end of the keyboard to the other end of the keyboard in a smooth manner. Like, so it's like a very important thing to consider to prepare yourself to learn how to play the piano properly. So, in summary, the first area was to learn how to read notes, and the most important thing in doing that is to practically just go into the music theory of reading notes. Okay, so get the foundation, and I have a video on that one. So if you can watch that video, it will help you dramatically in trying to speed up a little bit of your preparation. Number 2 is identifying and recognizing the notes and the stuff in finding them, you know, into the actual piano keyboard. And be sure that you're using the right octave, the right place there. And be sure to identify your middle C, okay, depending on which keyboard you're using. But if you're using the actual piano, acoustic piano, or the digital piano, the middle C is very easy to find. The third is fingering. Remember to use the right fingers to play those right notes. So that's it for today, and hopefully you are able to get something out of it. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Bye for now.